Welcome to Warrior News, where the world's most important stories take center stage. We bring you breaking headlines, global events, and the latest developments with fast, clear, and reliable coverage. Our mission is to keep you informed with the facts behind the news and the stories shaping tomorrow. Subscribe now and turn on notifications to stay connected to the world, wherever you are. The Golden State Warriors. Before you scroll off, I'm telling you right now, by the very end of this video, I'm going to tell you the specific precise reasoning Shams gave for why Golden State, of every single team reportedly circling this situation, actually genuinely won this pursuit. I'm also going to tell you exactly what Steph Curry said less than 20 minutes later that has genuinely completely reframed how this entire fan base is thinking about this specific backcourt heading forward. Stay with me all the way through this entire one from start to finish. Do not click off early. Here's how it went down step by step. Molly Kerim is running first take now, discussing training camp storylines around the entire league when the control room clearly interrupts with real urgency. She stops mid-sentence, catching herself. We're going to Shams right now. This is significant, and they cut. Shams delivers, and this is close to a direct word-for-word transcript. I want to explain why Golden State specifically won this pursuit, because the Cleveland extension that seemed close weeks ago actually quietly genuinely fell apart over structure and term length disagreements. My understanding is that Golden State's front office had genuinely been quietly monitoring that exact situation for weeks now. And once it became genuinely clear Harden's camp actually wanted real multi-year security Cleveland simply wasn't offering, Mike Dunleavy Jr. moved decisively with a specific pitch centered entirely around Harden running the offense in Curry's rest minutes as a genuine real second option. This deal is agreed to in principle. Read that back. A genuine real second option. That is Shams describing a very specific deliberate role that Golden State pitched to Harden's camp directly, not a generic empty star chase built purely around name recognition alone. And less than 20 minutes later, as I promised, Steph Curry addressed it directly, and the specificity here matters. Genuinely excited about this. A player who can run real offense independently when I need a breather. At this stage of my career, that's exactly what extends how much longer I can keep doing this at a high level. Read that back. That's exactly what extends how much longer I can keep doing this at a high level. That is Curry speaking personally and directly explicitly connecting this specific addition to his own real ongoing career longevity at this exact stage of his career. Now, the whiplash. Because I already know exactly what you're thinking right now, having watched this exact contradiction play out in real time over the last several weeks. Golden State is already hard-capped with real money committed to Curry, Draymond, and Butler. How do they add another significant salary? And here's the honest answer. This deal, according to Shams, is structured around a one-year value-based contract rather than requiring meaningful cap space, meaning Golden State could absorb it without requiring the kind of complex multi-piece trade some other additions have demanded. Stay with me, because once you understand exactly what Harden's specific skill set solves for this exact roster, this stops looking financially impossible and starts looking like the single cleanest value swing available on the market this fall. 3 reasons Shams was this confident. Reason 3 is where the reveal lands. Reason number 1, Curry at 38 cannot generate every single difficult possession this roster needs across a full season and playoff run entirely on his own. Harden, even at 36, remains one of the most gifted playmakers in the league, giving Kerr a genuine second offensive engine. Reason number 2, and this is the tactical detail specific to why Kerr's motion offense particularly benefits here. Harden's elite foul drawing and step-back scoring give this roster a genuinely different closing weapon than anything currently on the roster. Precisely the kind of complementary skill this bench has lacked. And before I get to reason 3, all because reason 3 is the specific structural detail Shams described, talk to me in the comments. Warriors fans, real question. Does adding a 36-year-old with real recent playoff production excite you about this roster's remaining championship window, or does the accumulated mileage across this entire core worry you regardless of talent? Go. Reason number 3, the structure. Ready? A 1-year value-based contract rather than requiring meaningful cap space. Read that back. This is precise technical capology confirming this deal genuinely respects Golden State's hard cap restrictions rather than requiring some creative workaround. Now, the skeptic, Stephen A. Smith, predictably found real concerns. You're adding another aging star to a core that already has Curry at 38 and Draymond at 36? At some point this roster is a retirement home with championship banners. And listen. That concern about compounding age is completely legitimate, but here's the counter. Harden's specific role here is deliberately reduced and situational, not a full-time workload. Golden State's specific demonstrated track record managing exactly this kind of veteran load is real and well documented. Here's the part of this story with real weight. Harden has chased a championship for over a decade without finishing the job. Walking into a genuinely proven, championship-tested organization represents his clearest remaining path. But, I owe you the honest risk. Real accumulated mileage across this entire core, now including Harden, compounds real injury and fatigue risk heading into a demanding season. Let's actually walk through the full backstory here one more time because I think it genuinely matters for evaluating this move properly. Harden was traded from the Clippers to Cleveland back in February in exchange for Darius Garland, part of a deal reportedly driven by his own desire for a longer contract extension the Clippers weren't willing to offer at his age. He then played real productive basketball for Cleveland, helping them to a 52-win season and a 4th seed in the East before declining his player option this past June to become an unrestricted free agent. The widely reported expectation all summer was that Cleveland would simply re-sign him on a new, longer deal. Let's talk about the actual numbers here for a second because I think they genuinely deserve real careful attention rather than a passing mention in this conversation. Across 70 total games split between the Clippers and Cavaliers last season, Harden averaged 23.5 points, 8 assists, and 4.8 rebounds a game. In the playoffs specifically, those numbers actually climbed, 19.2 points, 5.5 assists, and 5.1 rebounds a game. That's genuinely a 36-year-old veteran playing some of the most efficient, complete basketball of his entire career at exactly the precise moment most players his age are already visibly fading from the league entirely. Let's also spend real time on what specifically derailed the Cleveland negotiations because I think it's genuinely worth understanding beyond a simple surface-level financial disagreement. According to people genuinely familiar with the talks, Harden's camp specifically wanted real multi-year security, reflecting his current actual production level. While Cleveland's front office, mindful of his age and the risk of committing significant guaranteed money multiple years out, consistently preferred a shorter, more protected structure instead. That's genuinely a common, entirely predictable disagreement in modern NBA free agency, but it's exactly the kind of quiet, unresolved gap that can kill a deal that looked genuinely close from the outside looking in at the time. Let's also talk about what specifically fell apart in Cleveland beyond just the contract structure itself, because I think it's genuinely worth understanding as its own separate factor. Harden's specific real on-ball usage occasionally created genuine tension with Donovan Mitchell's own need for consistent touches, according to people around that exact locker room, which made an eventual departure considerably more plausible than the public resolution expected soon framing had originally suggested to most outside observers. Let's also talk about what genuine organizational culture actually means for a signing of this magnitude, because I think it's genuinely underrated in most breakdowns of a move this significant. Golden State, more than almost any other roster in this entire league, has genuinely built in actual infrastructure, medical staff, a real load management philosophy, veteran locker room leadership, specifically designed around extending the effective careers of talented aging players. If any organization in this entire league is equipped to actually maximize what's genuinely left of Harden's specific game while carefully managing the real physical risk that comes with it, it's precisely this one. Let's also talk about role clarity specifically here, because it genuinely matters for setting realistic expectations heading into this new season. This isn't Harden competing with Curry for primary ball handling. It's a genuine second unit table setter and closer, deployed specifically in minutes designed to protect Curry's own workload across a genuinely long, demanding regular season. Let's also talk about the specific mileage question honestly here because I think it genuinely deserves real direct, honest attention rather than a quick passing dismissal. Harden has now played a full 17 complete NBA seasons, an enormous amount of genuinely accumulated wear for any guard in this league, let alone one whose entire career-long game has always relied on quickness rather than pure physical size. That specific real genuine risk simply doesn't disappear just because last season's actual numbers happen to be genuinely excellent from start to finish. Let's also talk about what this specific move genuinely means for Golden State's broader championship equation heading into this exact season. Adding real proven secondary playmaking at a genuinely reasonable cost reopens a real meaningful conversation about this roster's actual remaining ceiling, one that had quieted somewhat around the league after a series of earlier misses on bigger names throughout this offseason. Let's also spend real time on Curry's own specific genuine admiration for Harden's game here because I think it deserves more than just a passing mention in this conversation. The two have genuinely shared multiple All-Star weekends and real mutual respect across their long careers, with Curry publicly repeatedly praising Harden's step-back shooting and elite playmaking IQ in prior media appearances long before this specific signing ever became a realistic possibility for either side. Let's also talk briefly about how this specific signing affects the broader Western Conference picture heading into the regular season. Every genuine contender in this conference has spent real resources chasing exactly this kind of proven secondary playmaking, and Golden State landing it at reasonable cost shifts the conversation meaningfully. So, let me bring it home. James Harden to the Warriors matters because he provides genuine secondary playmaking this roster has genuinely lacked, because his skill set specifically extends Curry's own effective career at exactly the right moment, and because Shams' specific detailed structural explanation confirms real technical sourcing rather than pure speculation about a transaction. Curry's own personal career-focused reaction is the receipt that this addition means something real. Now, here's what I'm watching next, and this is the next video. So, hit subscribe. If Harden lands in the Bay, the very next question is exactly how Kerr distributes closing responsibilities between him and Curry, how this specific core actually manages its cumulative age across a full season, and what this specific addition means for the final roster spots still being decided. I've got a read on it that will surprise you. For now, comments, likes, subscribe, Dub Nation. Cleveland's resolution never actually came. Golden State's genuinely did. Wild Autumn.